Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I am an eye for capitalism. This may seem kind of strange being my first video, but I wanted to go ahead and strike while the coals are hot, so to speak, as far as this is concerned. So, I just finished watching a big libertarian live stream on Andy Warski's channel. It had, of course, Andy Warski and JF on it, but it also had Shane Killian, that guy T. It had Alt Hype and this guy called Sean Last. And occasionally we had a small hop-ins here and there from Nick Fuentes and James Alsop. It was all very interesting, and there was a couple of times where things got heated, but overall the talks were very good. But there were some things I think weren't expressed in a lot of detail that I would actually like to respond to. The biggest one that I would like to respond to here is just the idea that James Alsop kind of talked a little bit about this, but he didn't get to go into too much detail. Is that what's going on with these immigration policies that are going on from, partially in the U.S., but big time um, going on in Europe and the UK and things like that, is that seems to be less about the actual free movement of people, and it's more of an actual government action of actively importing these people rather than through their use of policies such as their welfare policies and their incentives to have these people come over. Without a lot of these incentives, there wouldn't be so much of a reason for these people to be coming over. Of course, there would be times where they'd be coming over anyways, but it would just be a situation where they have less power over the population. But this is also a twofold thing, and this is why so many of these problems need to be addressed with many different things, is because one of the biggest problems we have going on, especially in a lot of these countries, especially in really statist places, is that these people have a very twisted kind of sense of what self ownership really means. To own oneself, there comes two aspects. That one, you have to have the ability to have free association, but another important aspect of it is the freedom to disassociate if you so choose. And the whole thing is that with a lot of these places, and even very much in the US, because a lot of these ideas, well, at least in the US here, we're getting a lot of situations where where minorities and different, people of color, they're kind of separatist groups, they're incentivized to kind of disassociate. But when other white people say, well, we choose to disassociate as well too, it's seen as an act of aggression in itself and racist and all that stuff. So there's a big blatant double standard that's going on here, and it is very much anti-white to a certain extent. So when it comes to a lot of these policies, I do sympathize to a certain extent to the alt-right, whereas I see the reality of what's going on and can admit that's what's happening here. But at the same time, it's one of those things that you can't approach it with just one blanket thing or another. There has to be a systematic wide goal and attempt that we're trying to go towards. And luckily, a lot of these people obviously didn't believe in, continuing welfare, but there's still a lot of that kind of status mentality in there. And I think the biggest way to kind of get past that is when you're talking about these people that are talking about borders, they often use the the idea of letting people into your home, or how home security is kind of equal to state security. And I think that's actually a good metaphor, but it also kind of lessens their argument a little bit more, because the whole thing about your home is that you have the freedom to associate with who you want and disassociate from who you want. Whereas on a state level, it's harder to do that because there's so many people that have a vested interest in what you do with your own property as opposed to what they do with their own. So the biggest thing that we got to address here also as well is that we need to have more individualists look at how people kind of integrate with their own communities, really. The biggest problem is that we need to uh, really kind of encourage that. Like, me personally, I'm not a fan of the idea of the ethno state, but at the same time, I don't have any problems with it. But I think if people do want to go about that, just like any other grassroots movement, the best place to start is very locally and make it into a bigger and bigger thing. And even though some people might get slack for it or be called racist when they're trying to put in their own certain things, it's a battle worth having because that is the first way of really doing this legitimately. I understand here in America that we have laws in place that limit the amount of disassociation we can do, but I think that's something that us on the right can work together on as a whole. Because when it comes to, let's be honest, when it comes to the left, they don't really believe in property rights and they don't really believe in what we believe in when it comes to what actual ownership of the self and what ownership property really is. So, of course, education really helps when it comes to this, but at the same time, we also need to be actively taking action. We need to actively be pushing for these sort of things. And I think that even the most statists of people on the right can admit that people should be allowed to do with their property as they wish. And that'll be really the first step, is to really kind of start this at a grassroots place and really start to change the way we view freedom and disassociation in this country. And I think that would actually do us very well as far as how far we can make it into the future of this country, and what that means for not just sovereignty of the self, but sovereignty of what we consider our nation to be. All right, this is dragging on already for too long, but I wanted to make something relatively short and address some of these points, and hopefully you guys got some benefit from this. Thank you very much for sticking with me, and if you like what I have so far, feel free to drop a comment, a like, and subscribe if you like, and thank you very much.